Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage podcast, episode 293. I am Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sininsky. Hello.
Hi, that's me.
Welcome back.
Hello. It's been a while. Sorry.
It's been a while.
This year our podcast schedule has also been the exact same time as everything else that's like important for me to do. Mm-hmm. Weddings are fun.
Why would it not be that weekend when it could be the next one, right?
Yeah, where I'm doing
That's
nothing.
How
Yes.
Yeah.
So to start out, we are drinking the best sub premium beer. It is called the Montucky Cold Snack,
Which is the unofficial beer of Montana.
and it's brewed in Wisconsin.
All of that makes sense to me.
Let's take a sip.
That is a cold snack.
Yeah, it is a session lager. It's really like, this is perfect on a 100-degree day.
Yeah, which is odd that today it isn't.
Yes.
Because the last entire week it's been 100
Has been
plus.
100 plus.
And
Yep.
I'm not about it.
Yep. And this has been perfect.
It's pretty similar to old style, but it's a little sweeter.
Yeah, it's sweeter, a little bit lighter, like a little bit more fruity, almost.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
The correct way to enjoy a Montucky cold snack is somebody gives it to you upon your first time meeting them. Because my first time having this was somebody gave it to me, and then all of my friends, their first time having it is somebody gave it to them.
So what you're saying is nobody buys it for their own consumption.
Well, I mean, I do.
Oh.
Because I didn't actually enjoy it. But the correct way to enjoy it for the first time is somebody gives it to you. It's
Well,
like a secret club.
That is how I am
Yeah.
currently enjoying
And
it.
that's how you enjoy it. Like, you know that YouTuber Dustin Williams?
No.
Oh, he's a YouTuber.
I believe you.
He came to Battle Creek for
Oh, nice.
That Tuesday meet
Yeah,
last
Tuesday.
year and like filled it out.
Nice.
This year he showed up, but he told people that he was coming as he was arriving.
Ah,
Brilliant. So nobody showed up except for like a handful of very cool cars, and I gave him one, and he enjoyed it
very fun.
because they're enjoyable cold snacks.
It's a fun little show. I like it.
Yeah,
I finally went
God,
a couple
so
weeks
good.
ago.
Yeah. So, oh wow, you went the 1 week I didn't go.
I,
So
know.
I'm like,
I was a little surprised because I walk across where I parked and like Josh is there and like
yeah.
Kevin was there.
Usually I'm there.
Right.
Oh, that was probably the week that Dan was doing the dinner for the Minneapolis Mile.
Could be.
Yeah.
But I got to ride in Kurt's new LS-powered SN95.
Oh, very good.
That thing is kind of wild.
Good. I'm happy Kurt got that. Yes.
It fits his personality so well.
Good. I'm very happy he's enjoying that. Well, I do a 2-second quick thing about Patreon and how people can do Patreon for starting at $1 a month to help buy us beer and help support the podcast. And then sometimes they can get swag if they find us and we happen to have it on us.
Anyway, what Ryan just said, and let's get
Where
into
do
topics.
we go? We go to
patreon.com/Carbitrage.
There we go.
That was the
Perfect.
one part you omitted. Damn.
Yep, and I wanted you to say that part.
All
So,
right.
I want to talk about something that kind of sucks, and that's the new Nismo Z, which is automatic.
Hold on. So I'm reading the caption here on the screen from JNC,
Yep.
and it's saying that this new, I'm guessing, performance trim Z,
Has more power, which nobody asked for. And a G nose, which is cool.
but it says automatic only in the
Yep,
caption.
and I said,
Why? Who thought that was a good idea?
you know, every car enthusiast in the world like goes, yeah, no, I'd like to have a manual. I don't care about, like, I'll just make the power myself. It's fine. Like, nobody actually gives a shit. The only people that do are just like woo boys that enjoy Porsches. Like, and I'm not like that.
This is dumb.
Yeah, this isn't good.
You could get the Nismo 370Z in a manual, couldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
You get them all manual up until this one.
I look at this stupid interior with that stupid shifter.
Yep, it's dumb.
What?
It's faster. I don't care.
Yeah, faster hasn't been an argument for 30 years. Nobody cares.
Well, the thing is, yeah, sure, this is faster, but, at this price, there's going to always be something that's faster than this car.
Did Nissan look at it and... Okay, I don't know the take rate on the 400Z, the new Z, whatever they call it. I don't know
Yeah.
the take rate for transmissions. To know if the manual take rate's super low, but I have to imagine they're selling almost 50% of those as manual.
Yeah.
There's no way, because your options right now for a new rear-wheel drive manual transmission car, you can get a Supra, you can get a Miata, you can get a GT86, or you can get a Z.
Yeah. Well, I think what's important here is
I don't
that
like this.
Nissan is sitting here making this, and they're making this decision in a bubble where Yeah, okay, cool. You now have made faster Nismo. And okay, you needed, for whatever reason, you needed to put a automatic behind it, which is a decision. I don't know if it's a good one. Actually, no, for a fact it's a bad one. But like,
I'm looking through the mod list here, and like, the only thing that really says performance is the additional horsepower. But like, the seats look really nice. I actually do kind of like the front bumper, the Genos.
yeah, and so there was a follow-up post by a Japanese nostalgia car called "Why the Nismo Comes Automatic Only," and there's just a whole bunch of TLDR about it, about how it's like marginally faster, and the automatic version had to have a automatic transmission to be faster than the manual like base model with the same specs, because if they put a manual behind this, it'd be slower than an automatic base model. And there's a couple of commenters here on Japanese nostalgia car. The first one is a person named Chet Manley.
Great name. Great name.
And Chet Manley said, "I think it's a load of horse manure that Nissan thinks automatic transmission being a bit faster will be the deciding factor. Here's the thing: a Tesla Model 3 performance version is already 3.1 seconds for 0 to 60, with the vanilla dual motor being a mom car at 4 seconds. So enthusiasts looking at 0 to 60 times will look over anything else and just go get an EV. This is a gas car. It's not going to ever do that."
The Nismo brand is an enthusiast sub-brand, not a performance sub-brand.
Yeah.
So all the more reason to who gives a shit about your 0 to 60?
Yeah, exactly. And then Chet goes on to say, like, credit where it's due, Porsche sticks manuals into things and charges a premium for them. They even put a turbo on 924 back in the day, knowing that'd be faster than a 944. I'm like, that's true. But like, also you have to own a 924.
Oh.
There's another person named Ollie Tabooger.
I'm sorry?
Ollie Tabooger.
Man, internet commenters really haven't lost their
They have
pizzazz.
great names. They're absolutely both not me.
How many alts do you have?
Hundreds. But Ollie's comment said, "This looks like one of two things to me. One, they just forgot that they were going to make a Nismo model. Like every other manufacturer in the world makes their vanilla model slower for the performance, so the performance version looks faster.
Right.
There's a reason that active aero and higher horsepower on the Corvette ZR1 only exists on that trim.
Correct.
Like, those are things that a normal Corvette could totally have, but they chose not to put that on. I said Nissan could have easily put a more restrictive exhaust on it, a milder ECU tune, or narrower tires on the 400Z, and not had this issue.
But they didn't. And
Yeah.
all of them make the same power. All the trims except for this make the exact same power.
But this is the other concern that is actually aired, and it said maybe this is all they could muster. Like, maybe it didn't turn out as intended. Like, they were intending to be able to do more, but this is all they could muster from the chassis. And then not being able to eclipse the standard model with a manual transmission says a lot about that.
There's just no way. And I like this little quip in the article, too, which is saying that the additional power is pretty much completely negated by the 168 pounds of additional weight that you get with the 9-speed.
Yeah, like, that doesn't matter. Another person said, "I'm tired of having to fight for every manual transmission. It's not like enthusiasts are quiet." Like,
We really aren't.
we really aren't. We hold off on buying cars that don't offer them. There's a reason that Alfa Romeo doesn't sell shit in America. Mm-hmm. Like, the thing is that like Toyota went through this fight with the Supra.
Yep.
And it's not like Nissan and engineers and marketing staff are illiterate. Like,
No.
maybe they're giving them too much credit. Like, they could be illiterate and just ended up with this job. I don't know how, but they might have.
Hey, man, people have
Maybe that's their thing. But like,
fallen into weirder roles.
I'm just thinking of, there have been so many cars that have just done nothing for enthusiasts because they were automatic only. Like, the R35 GTR got lucky.
Well, yeah, because it was like the Gran Turismo car. It was
Yeah.
like a technological tour de force. It was cheap. It was half the price of 911 Turbo when it launched. Now it isn't.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but like,
you're
the
right.
thing is like, the GTR also at that point in time, to like do what it did, it needed to be automatic because they had to make a transmission that would fit into multiple things.
Right.
And automatic was the way to make that work.
But I mean, to your point earlier, the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
The Giulia Quadrifoglio. In the rest of the world, you can get it with a 6-speed.
Yeah, just not here. Yeah,
Here you
and that's
can't.
why nobody buys them here.
Right.
Because the only people that are gonna ever buy an Alfa Romeo are gonna be people that want a manual. Because your average person's not gonna buy an Alfa because nobody wants to deal with an Alfa.
No. The
Like-
manual makes the pain worth it.
Yeah, like that is a objectively terrible car, and also like you have a car that's known for being
Oh,
that
no.
fucking clown. What a boob! Sorry, there's that stupid person with the Jag that drove by. But the
It was the black XJR that did that one-wheel
Yeah,
peel.
exactly.
Listeners. You remember.
but the I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was talking about manuals and Alfa Romeos.
Yes.
Alfa Romeos are known for being problematic. Why on earth would you add a not simple option as the only thing?
But it's a nice, reliable
No,
German
it's
made
not. It's
transmission.
not. It doesn't matter. It's the fact this is Alfa Romeo on it.
Right.
Like, it says Alfa Romeo. It's going to suck. Like,
They still wrote the shift logic, too. Let me
yeah,
just say
no,
that.
they absolutely did. And it's like, when I bought my Fiat, like, realistically, I'm okay buying an automatic for myself. 'Cause I genuinely don't give a shit about my commuter. But, like, I bought a manual because I did not trust a Fiat with an automatic.
Yeah. The Eisen 6-speed auto is actually very reliable in those cars, but they're sealed. Which really rubs me the wrong way on any component.
Yeah, and so there's just a million ways that they could have not fucked this up, and they fucked it up.
Yep.
And it's like, this car, I think like Nissan thinks too highly of modern Z cars, because genuinely nobody's really given a shit about the Z since the S30s, since the original Z. That's when that car was in the zeitgeist. Ever since then,
Yeah.
it has just been another sports car.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, it was the thing in the 70s. But in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 2000s,
Yeah, you had
it
your-
was,
you had your
you had
clicks,
an
but-
option. Like, yeah, like there are people that love Z32s. That's great. But the Z32 is not the apple of everybody's eye like the Supra. Nobody, like,
Right. Oh,
that car
absolutely.
the Z could have disappeared after the Z32, and genuinely the world would have been okay.
Yep.
Like,
Look at the 3000 GT. It would have been
yeah,
the same thing.
It's the same thing. Nobody cares about the 3000 GT.
Right.
This is
And that did go away,
yeah,
and nobody
cared. And that's the thing with the Z cars is like they're cool. Don't get me wrong. Do I appreciate them? Yes. Do I appreciate when they make cool trim levels? Absolutely. Would I cry if the Z didn't exist anymore? No, because I haven't really like some of my favorite cars are Zs. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, I
but
know.
like
We've talked about
yeah,
the
but,
Z31.
but like they're genuinely like it's not like a Skyline, like a Skyline GTR. Like the GTR should exist,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's not like the Corvette where GM needs the Corvette to exist. This is the GM Camaro, like the Chevy Camaro, like the GM's like thing where it's just like, here's your other car, like here's your Firebird, like cool, Firebirds are great, but like if the Firebird stopped existing, that wouldn't be the heart of GM stopping beating.
Oh, wait.
This isn't the heart of
It
Nissan.
did. Right.
Yeah, and so it doesn't matter. What you need to do is make this exciting for enthusiasts, and that is put a manual in it. So
Pretty much. And like, let's not forget, this is based on the underpinnings of the 370 and therefore the 350. So, I mean, the car still has, it's very obvious the intention of how they plan to sell and market this car, and it's to people that actually give a shit about the manual.
yeah, and yeah, it's you're gonna get a nothing burger out of this. They're not, their sales are gonna suck. Also, they did nothing with the body. All the other Nismos had like very different bodywork. This one they
It's
did.
pretty subtle.
It's very nothing.
I feel like it's more like paint schemes than it is actual bodywork.
This is the lamest Nismo I've ever seen. I would genuinely, if I wanted a Nismo model made in the last 10 years that's not a Z34, I'd get a Nismo Sentra over this.
Oh my god.
'Cause at least that came with a
That's
manual.
true. You could get that in a stick.
Hey, you get manual, turbo, front-wheel drive Sentra.
That is a weird car. Why that exists is
Doesn't
beyond
need
me.
to, but that's the one I would get. That's the enthusiast
And it doesn't
car.
have this problem.
Yeah, doesn't look like that.
Tell me that is at all an appealing looking shifter.
When I drive Jan's Lexus, as much as I love it, I do get anxious because I know anybody can take it.
What do you mean?
It's automatic.
Oh yeah.
You can just get in there and step on the gas and
What?
go.
True.
Oh, I like having a manual. I feel safer in it.
That's genuine.
That's
Absolutely.
actually a thing. Like,
Well, you hear about these people like casing in nicer neighborhoods now, and like
Yeah.
stealing cars. I'm like, they're not gonna be able to steal your stuff.
well, I was like driving. So I did drive. I went to the North St. Paul car show, and I had to drive Colin home when I was done. And so when I left Colin's house, it was in Uptown. I'm like, every time I stopped at a stoplight, I made sure I had places to move to.
Sure.
Because I'm like, I don't want somebody to try and box me in and carjack me.
Right.
Like, I'm going to make sure that I can go on the sidewalk. There's not going to be like a trash can in my way. I can go into oncoming traffic. I can just go through the light. Like, that's something I thought about. If I was in a Fiat, I would not think about that.
I would just be sitting there listening to Bocelli
Yeah.
and eating spaghetti.
Yeah, so this is dumb. Oh, well. Anyway, let's talk about some better things.
All right, let's move on to. Oh my God, I gotta look and see what's. Okay, all right, we're back to EV charging.
Yes.
Sorry, I put this in quite a while ago. So since we last recorded, there have been more developments, and mainly it pertains to the Tesla NACS connector becoming a released patent and getting soon, an SAE number. So it's going to be SAE J3800, I think. But the adoption went from nothing to a month ago. We're seeing, okay, well, we have 4 or 5 major automakers signing on. Now we're to the point where we basically have a conglomerate.
You have
Amalgamation?
amalgamation, yes.
Okay. So a huge number of the biggest EV automakers have come together and said the infrastructure outside of the supercharger network is not good enough. So we have the Dieselgate money, which is Electrify America.
Yep.
It expanded very quickly. It's nice that we have it, but there's no maintenance there. So there's a problem. Combine that with the fact that we now have a new charging standard port, which is NACS. All of these companies, which include but are not limited to BMW, GM, Honda, Kia, Mercedes, and Stellantis, are all teaming together to form this amalgamation company, which is going to basically compete with the supercharger network.
Okay.
The reason why they're going to do this, I already said one of them. The Electrify America CCS charging network is in really bad condition.
Yes.
And
it was all put together 10 years ago.
Well, it wasn't even 10 years ago. I mean, it was still
It's
Dieselgate.
closer. It was 10 years ago than
But I mean,
not.
they were buying
It's like
hardware
8.
from all of the different companies because they had
Yeah.
to roll this out so quickly. So I mean, the techs can't replace this shit. A
Yeah.
lot of these companies are out of business and defunct. But a lot of this comes down to, well, since the standard is now opened up, the car company that makes your car should not be the one selling you the power.
Yeah.
And really, that's one of the biggest issues of the Tesla supercharger network, along with the short cables, so it doesn't work with every other car. But I think this is fantastic because every time I travel, it's okay for me
Yeah.
because the supercharger network is fantastic, and really, it's open, but it's not. So
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about a huge number of people with other EVs blocking them on holiday weekends.
Yep.
But there are times where I've had to wait for a spot with an 8 supercharger stall, and like it's only going to get worse, and EV sales are up. So I'm really, really excited to see that there's going to be a competing network that will have both connectors. Hopefully, they will take maintenance seriously,
Yeah.
because in my opinion, that's the biggest
that's
issue
gonna
with
be-
charging networks right now.
If I had an EV and I was on a road trip and I know how I drive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait till it starts flashing bells and whistles at me. And I get to a charging station and like the one charger that's open is fucking broken because some bro with a truck just drove over it or something. Like, I'm gonna have an out of body experience. I'm gonna light the car on fire there in the parking lot and just go get an ice car again. Like, that's absolutely what happened to me. It'd suck. Like, I don't want that to happen.
Right.
So yeah, if they can, as long as there's maintenance, and I think like maybe like as far as maintenance goes, for the Electrify America stuff, it should be up to the DOT. Like, would you like to make jobs for America? Have people whose entire job is to just go to charging stations and be a janitor for them, make sure shit's plugged back in, make sure things aren't broken.
Well, we already have departments of weights and measures. Like, they could.
Yeah, no, they totally could. And like, I just think like America needs like more just accessible jobs.
Yeah.
That's an accessible job that would pay decently.
Yeah, there's some level of skill to it.
Yeah, there's a level of skill to it. It's not just flipping burgers at McDonald's, but like a problem with our country is there's a gap between flipping burgers at McDonald's and designing lithium batteries.
Right.
Like, in between there, you're supposed to have a 4-year degree.
It's like a trade.
You're supposed to have, like, a 4-year degree, 8 years of experience just to make $27 an hour. Like, that's ridiculous to me. This could fit that niche where it's like...
It's like appliance repair. I mean,
Yeah.
there's skill to it, but it's really limited.
Yeah, that's an actual skill that you could have where it's like... And then, like, okay, let's say you don't want to do that for the rest of your life. Well, you already have that. That can easily translate into something else, like being an electrician.
Yeah.
Like, you could easily make that happen. Or have another job in, like, a more of a desk-based thing. But, yeah, like, that's something where you could have a scalable job for a lot of people, and that would bring jobs to America. So I don't see what the problem would be there, having just, like, the DOT run their own. And then, people could have their own charger systems. Like... I'm a really big fan of taking gas stations that have like bodegas in them and converting them into EV chargers and just elevating the bodega.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's another huge shortfall of the charging networks right now is there's no creature comforts. A lot of the time you can't even get a restroom.
Yeah, no, that's
a problem.
There was a BP that was over by my house. And if I had the money, I would have absolutely bought it and done that with it. But they ended up selling it to somebody that's going to make it to a 5/1, and they tore it down. And that's fine.
What?
A 5/1. 5 residential stories over one commercial, mixed use.
I should know what that is.
That is a great term for that. I found out those specific apartments are. And I'm like, I don't like 5/1s, but they have a place in the world.
They do. And honestly, all this, or tangent, whatever, this is our show.
Yeah.
The amount of high density housing that's in the process of going up or is, I don't know, planned right now is insane. So we are going to reap the benefits as renters anyway in the next 10 to 15 years. Rental is going to get really cheap.
Yes.
Because there's going to be an overabundance of pretty nice places to live, and it's going to be fantastic. Because people will actually be able to live comfortably again at some point. Mm-hmm. I'm really looking forward to that.
And I like the idea of having like some 5/1s where it's like it's a condo, like you can actually buy it.
Yeah.
And then you have your HOA, and that's how the landlord, the actual owner of the building, makes their money. Is they have the HOA fee. Like there you go. Now everybody's happy. You have equity. They have profit. Everybody's happy. Like there's a happy medium there.
I'm a huge fan of that. That ethos for a lot of people.
Yeah. So, but back to my thing with elevating gas stations is like you can still put like 1 or 2 fuel pumps in there. So like you don't need to yank out the tank down there because like that's me fine. But gas stations are not profitable as they are. Most gas stations in the next 10 years are going to go bankrupt because they're all franchises and they're all unprofitable. The only way gas stations make money is from selling concessions.
I believe that.
They lose money on every gallon of gas they pump.
Especially with all these like loyalty programs and everything. Like,
there's loyalty programs. There's also just like all the fees. If your tank ruptures, you are going out of business. No question. You're not coming back from that. Like you're done.
Insurance claims have to pay out when they
Yep.
vent line breaks and they get water.
No, it is absolutely crippling. So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these gas stations, the smart thing to do is elevate your concession store, put a small restaurant or bodega in there, so it's, then you take half those gas pumps, you make them in chargers.
Yeah,
and that works.
You give me the option of like a holiday gas station sandwich and a carbonated beverage when I'm at a charger, you bet your ass you're selling me one every time.
Yeah, well, I mean, even like more than a holiday gas station sandwich, like. There's a gas station that is in Egan that has a great bodega, and I'm blanking on the gas station's name, but they have just a wonderful barbecue.
And it's honestly a better fit for EV charging because you're there longer.
Exactly. So if you're going to sit there for more time, like, might as well have a good little sandwich shop. Have a coffee shop in there. Like, have something that's, take that concession stand out and put in, like, whatever you want your, like, local version of a Caribou to be. Or like you put a small coffee shop that's yummy, like actually good, like a Karma coffee.
Oh yeah, or
like,
a 5 watt.
Or like a 5 watt, something like that. Where you put a 5 watt in there, it'd be perfect.
Or what about like a small WeWork or something in there too?
That's
like
what I mean. Yeah,
people doing work on the road, like give them a nice quiet place with internet that doesn't suck. No.
I gotta charge my car. I gotta get out of the office. That's everybody's gonna live or be thrilled by that.
And let's be real. I mean, as batteries get bigger, charging speeds come up, but. If you need to take it, that's cool.
Nope. I'm just telling Trig to text me.
But I hear you. I think That's a great idea. I've only been to, I think, 2 charging facilities that were at existing convenience stores.
Yeah.
And the experience was fantastic because I knew I had a bathroom. I knew I
You're
could go
going
in.
to sell things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And they did. Like,
Yeah.
I bought beef jerky and, a Red Bull. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
The
No.
profit margin.
Yeah. So
Anyway, we still have a car show going on, people. That's why you're hearing things that
yes.
aren't us.
So, well,
Oh, man.
I
this
like
one's
the
gonna be
idea
good.
of expanding EV charging, and I really like the idea of.
This is a hell of a segue. I like it.
I know. I actually like being an urbanist and enjoying my car. Like that's the thing. Is like I'm an urbanist, but I also enjoy cars. Like it's a very weird niche that
Well,
I
look at
fit in.
Scott too. He writes this pro pedestrian bike column, and
That's what I mean.
drives,
Like
a
me and
bunch of
Scott,
manual-
me and
yeah.
Scott are both like, yeah, urbanism. Like that's the thing. Is like we're city planning nerds that love cars. Like cars have a place. They're not. It's not commuting. Like that's what a car is for.
The perspective is nice though, because
Yeah.
I'm glad people like you are actually vocal about it.
Yeah,
Because
and-
if it's all just hippie crunchy people that just think the cars are the worst thing in the entire world,
Yeah.
it's a problem.
And that's the thing is, I admit as a commuting vehicle, they are terrible.
Yeah, there are better mechanisms.
Yes, there's a better way to commute. Like when I go to Dan's house and like Jana's like getting off of work because she works next to Dan's, I gladly take light rail. I have more fun taking light rail than I do parking because I don't have to pay for parking. I just hop on the light rail, pop on a podcast, go scroll through Reddit. That's it.
Every time
Done.
I've taken the light rail, I've been like, that was so nice.
Yeah, it's always been a great time.
Anyone that bitches about the toilet rail or whatever, I'm like, you are.
I'm sorry that poor people exist in your capitalist society.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Perhaps we should be communists so everybody's equal.
I'm sorry that people don't smell and look the way that you like. I
Like
mean,
that's the thing is like whenever anybody complains about light rail or any public transit, like the thing they're complaining about is capitalism, but they're capitalists. I'm like, well, this is what you get, homie. Like these people aren't gonna not exist. Like this happens everywhere. Like I know not all of them. I know 70% of the homeless people around my house, and I try to like to a degree take care of it. I'm not gonna open up my house and and like have them like sleep in my basement or anything, but like if they want to like chill out on my steps and like under the shade of my like black walnut tree during a hot summer day, absolutely, dude, do your thing. Here's some water. But like that's the thing is like because I know personally everybody here is most people that listen to this, most people in America, they are one financial problem away from homelessness.
oh yeah.
I know right now,
Especially right now, dude.
if my water heater broke right now,
you would have cold showers for a while.
I would never be out. I would genuinely have to sell my house. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like
or really unpleasant showers.
nope, I would have to sell my house to be able to because I'm not gonna be able to afford it anytime soon.
Well, yeah,
dude,
because you don't
this-
have to replace it.
no,
I get where
I've
you're
got $15,000 worth of wedding expenses that we've added on. Like it is.
gotta love it.
Yep. No, if that water heater went out right now, it'd be a catastrophic problem. I would learn very quickly how to fix a water heater.
It's very easy. I would help you.
Good. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like that's why I'm always like I try to be like treat homeless people or people that are even like lower income like people because that could happen to me. That could especially when you have a hobby like cars.
Oh my god.
So yeah, and like people love to modify their cars, and the modifications sometimes they get a little cursed. So actually, I want to take that
Segue's so
that segue, and I want to talk about. Let's talk about our
sorry.
pet peeve modifications. Like
All
what?
right.
I'm not talking like big ones. Like what is the worst small modification you can do? So major modifications like crackle tunes or like Boyd Coddington wheels, like those are like the worst. But what is like the worst small modification, like a pointy lug nut or something like
Black
that?
wheels.
Just painting wheels black.
Tricolor stripe grills.
Oh God. Ugh.
Grills, I mean.
I am genuinely torn between the claw mark sticker over the headlight, LED valve stem caps, and pointy lug nuts. Those are my 3 least favorites. I like gun to my head, I don't think I could tell you which one bothers me the most.
I mean, I really hate camber too, but like nowhere near as much as I hate black
That's
wheels.
camber is a major modification because you actually have to do something. You can't just.
I
Like,
understand.
You can't go to AutoZone and make camber happen. Well, I mean, you could.
Yikes.
Usually, you can't purposefully do
Right.
that.
Hey, do you sell crash bolts here, but like really small ones.
Yeah, exactly. Like
But no, for me, genuinely, it's black wheels. I'm like,
black
every
wheels,
time I
just
see those, I'm
paint
like,
a wheel black.
you may as well just have, and I'm not talking professionally gloss black powder coated wheels.
No,
I'm talking like you
matte
look like
black.
you have steelies now.
Yep,
Or worse,
that's
because
awful.
they paint them looking at it and they don't rotate the wheels. So like a part of the spoke they don't see is still
Yeah,
silver.
That's so bad. Poorly painted black wheels.
God, I hate black wheels.
Yeah, that is up there. I think that quarter window louvers.
Oh yeah, I saw those on an Equinox the other day,
Yep.
like a new one. I'm
Oh,
like,
man.
what?
The first
Who
time
makes this?
The first time I saw one, and the first time I saw one, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. It reminds me of Death Race. And now every time I see one, it's on like an Accord. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here with your quarter window louvers. You're so bad.
I hate it so much.
NASCAR style spoiler editions.
Oh yeah, the Wicker Bill or whatever.
Yeah, the NASCAR spoiler on Hellcats. That is the ultimate I'm a fuckboy that goes to
Ooh, I got
like
another one.
takeovers mod. That is the worst.
The people that letter their tires with a different brand of tire than they actually have. I mean, I hate the lettering, but like
People that letter their
they'll
tires,
put
period.
Michelin on like the Guangchangs or whatever high runs.
People that letter their tires, and all they do is just fill in the tire, and especially if it's a sticker. That's the worst.
Oh yeah.
So, with tire lettering, there were two ways. So it used to be through the raised letter tires, like back in the 70s. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
If they're factory lettered,
factory like if the tire manufacturer itself did a raised letter,
Yeah.
that's cool because it's actually raised.
Yeah.
They actually made the inner bands of the tire white, and they shaved off the black vulcanized rubber to make the white stick out.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yes.
But what bothers me the most is when people like they don't, because it's a sign to me that they don't know where the roots are from. Because the modern tire lettering craze where they spray paint a thing onto it
Yeah.
was from actually Raoul Bagraf, RWB.
Hell of a name.
Well, RWB. They popularized that because in Japan, different kanjo teams would go to racetracks at the same time, and it was after the Japanese government like cracked down a ton on street racing, and so to be competitive, they'd race against each other, and they'd have their track tires, and they'd put the name of their team on the tire,
Yeah. Okay.
so people couldn't steal tires. So it'd say like idlers, or it would say like Temple Racing or something
Sure.
on the tire. So if you're like from Temple Racing, and somebody says like what's the other one? If somebody's from like a different kanjo team,
Yeah.
they would they wouldn't be able to like take your tire and then run their
clever.
car with it.
Yeah.
Because like that's a thing where like they would totally know somebody's looking, they just swap out the worn tire for a fresh tire, and then the other team wouldn't be able to have their fast tires. That's where that came from.
See, that's fine,
That's actually a really cool story.
but that's not what happens here.
yeah, no, you're not putting your racing team name on the track tire. No, you're filling in Nanking tires
Right.
with some
Michelin.
yeah, or even just writing in Nanking tires on your like 205 65 R15 tires on your very tired, you found them at Upol or Parts set of like TSWs that are like 15s. Yeah. Gross.
Did you just say 16-inch tire and then 15
You know what I
inch
mean?
wheel?
Like
yeah.
they just like, like it was a factory
Right.
like fitment like 16.
I
like
want
it's a
custom wheels.
It's like a 16 by 5.5. Like it is just terrible.
Those are the wheels that are sold to Discount Tire just for when you hit a pothole with your deflated tire and you need a new factory
That's
replacement.
exactly what they exist for. And I get the aftermarket manufacturers found out. I'm just lifting this up so it gets more.
Oh, airflow?
Cooling.
I got
Yes.
you. Oh, the fan's going nuts?
It's getting a little spicy.
Ah.
It's fine. It just keeps downloading things.
It hasn't been awake for some time.
No.
So.
So I just wanted to make sure the computer is okay. But yeah, so you really hate tire lettering. I concur. I have like when I think window louvers, I think I might hate those more than pointy lug nuts. However, tricolor grill stripes you wrote down.
And now I'm seeing them on like Maseratis.
I saw a Volvo Polestar
Oh.
with light blue and yellow
It's a Chinese.
with like the BMW performance style ones on a Volvo.
I know.
And I have never so quickly gone into the fast lane and started driving the speed limit than when I saw a guy coming up behind me. I was as obtuse as I possibly could
I
because
saw-
I was mad at him. It was during rush hour too, so it's like you shouldn't be going 70 here. But like, also like I'm usually not the lane police, but for you get my ire because I was like hangry and I saw that I'm like so mad.
I saw a Ghibli on 22s
Gross.
at least with
Gross.
those in the Italian colors, and I instantly became beside myself.
Oh,
with
that's awful.
dissatisfaction.
I actually saw a Pentastar Italian vehicle. It didn't suck. I saw a Quadrifoglio Stelvia or whatever. Stelvio?
Yeah.
I saw one of those.
That's
I
not
was
a
like,
Pentastar. That's based on the Ferrari California V8.
oh, is that V8?
That's a
I
90,
c- oh,
well,
it's,
no,
it's
it's a
a
V6, but it's a 90 degree,
Yeah, it's a 90
which
degree.
is why it sounds like shit.
Okay, that's yeah. It sounded terrible, but
That's the one.
it was actually kind of cool. Like the hood, the scoops on the hood,
Okay.
like the vents on the hood,
Yeah.
actually go into the engine bay.
Well, that is good. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's probably terrible, but I'm glad they do
Yes,
things.
no, it actually they're functioning things. I'm like, this guy bought a crossover, but like he's gonna learn Italian car ownership real quick.
When the first snow and road salt starts going
Yep.
in there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the engine harness isn't prepared for that.
It was like a younger black dude. I'm like he was doing well for himself, and he had bought that. I'm like, you're gonna find out. You're gonna get an Abarth ownership experience.
Oh,
right
yeah.
here. Like it's okay. Everybody should experience this at one point in their life, but this is what it's like to own a foreign. Like you are going to get this. It's
Yeah,
going to be a whole lot of fun.
The QFs aren't particularly reliable, so.
Yeah. No, and especially just Alfa Romeo as a whole just isn't. And
Well, yeah, but that's
specifically the hot Alphas.
That is not why they sell. In fact, I think that quite the opposite is why they sell. People want that obscure, not boring experience.
He was also enjoying the truck as well.
Oh.
He went wide open. He actually preloaded it and everything from a stoplight. So I was like, he left the gas station. He goes to the light. And he like sits right here. I watched the rear end like actually squat down. And I'm like, he's actually preloading that. He's not just bouncing off of rev limiter. Like, no,
I'm waiting
he's
for the
actually,
transfer case to explode. It's
Yeah,
gonna
it
be good.
will absolutely explode because those are giant tires on there. Yep, that will. It was pretty fun.
I watched a non-Quadrifoglio Stelvio get tailed by a state trooper for quite some time, and then get tailed by the same trooper with his lights on for quite some time before he realized that he was being followed, and then pulled over. So,
fun.
Best of luck to that person who probably got multiple citations, even though he wasn't going that quickly. All right.
Anyway.
So, speaking of functional louvers, I saw this last week, and I'm not sure how to feel about it, but I think Ford became a little bit pee-pee jealous of the C8 and the fact that after 50 years of saying that they're going to make a mid-engine Corvette, they did. And Ford's like, well, we don't have a Corvette. What's the next closest thing? Like, well, we have the Mustang still.
Don't they have a GT?
I think that's been discontinued.
Oh, I guess they don't have a Corvette then.
Correct. Yep, and that was mid-engine. But anyway, for some godforsaken reason, not only did Ford put out a concept car called the GTD, I believe. Yep.
I saw that.
They're going to make that in 2025. So it looks like a Ken Block RTR Mustang
Yeah, no,
GT
it's insane,
essentially,
yeah.
but it's actually a 5.2 Shelby-powered, supercharged, mid-engine, carbon fiber body, $300,000
Mustang.
Dang.
That's cool.
I like it because it's dumb,
Yeah, no, that's very dumb.
and it's arguably a horrible car, so it's probably going to be good.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with this. I wrote.
It's just weird.
I wrote a track pack Shelby GT 500.
Okay. What year?
But 2020.
Was it a DCT car?
I didn't look that close. I can't tell you. I just started writing it. I
Gotcha.
didn't actually complete it because he was missing a whole bunch of stuff.
Did
But
he have doors open in his photos?
no,
Well,
but
that's
he was
good.
just missing like a lot of underside photos, and a lot of random things, title photos, shit like that. Anyway,
Reading's hard.
it was a flat. It's the flat plane V8.
Oh, GT350.
No, 500. 500 has it
500
now.
is their flat plane?
Apparently.
I didn't know that.
So it was. He had a startup video, and that was most definitely a flat plane.
I thought only the Voodoo non-supercharged GT350s were that.
I will show you the car afterwards. It had the
Sure,
carbon
yeah,
fiber
yeah.
track pack and everything, with the full carbon fiber wheels and everything.
Oh, hell
It was
yeah.
really fucking cool.
I bet that's a GT350R.
It was 500, I think. I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
I mean,
Anyway, it was
yeah,
the
sorry.
whiz bang one. That's what it was. Because,
that is the whizziest,
I said-
bangiest.
Like I said, I saw it. I go, this is very cool. And I saw he's missing a bunch of shit. I'm like, well, I won't finish this today. So I didn't finish it. So usually I get you all the details after I finish writing
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
But since he was missing most of the shit that I needed,
The critical information.
I could see the car. I got an idea for the car. I could feasibly have written it.
Sure.
But it would not have been anywhere near going live, and I know better. At this point, than to spend my time on something that needs that much shit.
Yeah,
but it
they
was a
got to
very
get you
cool car.
90%, I imagine, before it's even worth you spending any time on.
As long as I have as long as I can fill out the information on it, I can check the VIN to the title. That's the thing. And if it's like newer cars like that, I usually don't have them go live until I have a title, because then I need to make sure that like the title A exists, B is in the person's name.
Small penis! Small penis!
Oh, that guy's got an Eric Clapton chin and an open mouth. But anyway.
There are two immensely large pavement
Oh, that one's
princesses.
actually really cool. That's a highway.
Oh, wow. That is a very clean truck.
That's actually cool. There's 3 trucks, and one of them was cool. The
Yeah,
rest of
so
them
the,
suck.
the first two are just pavement princess
That one
Rams or
sucks,
whatever.
too.
Oh, my God. Is that an OBS?
That's an O.J. Simpson era F-150.
Is that a Cummins?
No, it'd be an early Power Stroke.
That doesn't sound like a V8. That last one's a Power Stroke. I think
Yeah.
the other one was a Cummins.
Maybe it was. It was cool.
That's a cool truck.
No, those are all cool trucks.
All right. Not the first two.
The ones we were talking
Yeah,
about that are cool.
the white ones.
Yeah.
Not because they're white, for the record.
No.
Anyway, sorry. So the car, the GT3 500, you're right.
Yeah. Like as long as I can but the thing is, like modern cars, like, a lot of the time they'll have like a lane on them. I need to make sure like the reserve is more than the lane amount, because believe it or not,
I didn't
it
think
can
about
be
that, yeah.
extremely cursed if the car hits reserve and it sells for $5,000 less than the lane. The guy doesn't have $5,000.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I always make sure about that. That's something that's not technically in the rule book, I think.
That should be added to the checklist.
It might
I
be
think.
nowadays, but
Okay.
like when I first started working there, it was not technically in the rule book. So I'm like, ooh.
Speaking of people living on the edge, yeah, people can't just absorb 5 payments in a
Yeah,
row,
no, I know
basically.
I can't. Like nobody can.
I-
You cannot take a $5,000 random L.
I can't pay off the $3,000 and whatever equity on the Tesla right now. Hell no.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody
Like,
has any money. The world is on
No.
fire.
So, anyway,
Yeah, sorry.
I have one additional modification I just thought about that I
Okay.
actually really hate. Fake JDM license plates.
Okay.
I have an example
Let me-
image
I'll pull this up here. Sorry, let me close this
where
one out.
it's not a.
Whoa.
Whoop, that's not it. There you go.
Got it.
So it's where you put words in text onto something that looks vaguely like a Japanese license plate. Like, they never had an Imperial Rising Sun license plate.
Well, they should.
The only 3 license plates on this that ever existed are the white one,
Yep.
the yellow one, and I think the green one was for, like, military vehicles or something.
But there wasn't a red one that says sushi on it?
No, and also, they would never have Romanized text on them like that. There is one Romanized character you could ever get on a Japanese license plate, and that's the letter Y, and that's for Yankee, and that's for U.S. servicemen based in Okinawa, specifically.
Ah.
So if you ever, actually, cool fact, if you ever get a Y-plated Japanese license plate, that you know exactly where it's from. It's a very unique thing. So that's actually really cool.
That is really cool.
But these license plates, every single thing means something. So when you look at these, whenever you're finding a Japanese license plate, first off, if it has any Romanized text, it's stupid. You know a lot about the person. They're fucking try hard, and I hate them. They're just annoying
headphone
and
users.
awful. But on Japanese license plates, so the top 2 kanji characters, it's usually kanji. There's actually one prefecture that uses a character which is just a normal hiragana character, and its name, I can't remember, I think it's Akita, but that says the prefecture name. And then, so these saying 5.9 or 2.9 would actually technically be a very early Japanese license plate, because now they use a 3-number prefix. That prefix denotes the vehicle class and engine size.
Okay.
So you'd have, say, a 500 would be over 2 liters. Something below a 500, like a 300, I believe, is above a K car, and then the 2 or 1s, I believe, is a K car.
Oh, wow. So it's backwards.
They actually like all those numbers mean something. And after that, the numbers after that, I can denote specifically what class they are for Shinkansen testing. Not Shinkansen. That's Bullet Train. For what is the Japanese vehicle test called? I'm blanking on it.
I assure you.
But anyway, the last, so it's a 3-digit number now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the last 2 digits are for what class it would be for the Japanese vehicle test.
So is that like a usage case, or is it safety?
Yes.
Or?
So you'd have like multi-person vehicle versus 2-door commuter car versus
I gotcha.
pickup
So
truck,
bus
something
versus-
like that. Yeah,
okay.
bus.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
I
then-
like when license plates mean stuff.
Yes, and then the hiragana that's next to it would be Y would be Yankee. Otherwise, they have all the other hiragana is just one that's available.
What
for
about the
what it
Punisher
is.
skull?
Punisher Skull does not exist in Japan, no, and that's
Interesting.
also trademarked by Mattel. So, or rather Disney. Marvel Disney. So
Well, there's
that,
4 exclamation points in a row here, so I know this site's legit.
exceptionally annoying.
This is a really hard thing, even for me to look at.
Yes,
So.
yellow is for small displacement bikes and for K vehicles. White is for everything else. They'll have a white with a red stripe through it, and the white with the red stripe is a temporary plate.
Okay.
Actually. Yeah, so that's what all those are for. They also do not have dragons on them. That is not an option as well.
Wow. What about the?
And then there's also only a 4 or 5 digit option for the numbers themselves, and they're actually not black. They're a dark reflective green.
Weird.
If you look very closely at them, they're extremely dark green.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but that's the way you can tell if an actual Japanese license plate from a fake one. Also, they would not be these elongated holes. They're 2 holes set just for Japanese vehicles. They do not fit on U.S. plates. They're a little bit larger.
Are they at the top or are they centered?
They're
like
at the
UK
top.
stuff?
There's 2 at the
Oh,
top,
okay,
and
okay.
the left one on the top is actually riveted onto the car because the license plate does not leave the car until it leaves Japan.
I dealt with that with both my imports from
Yeah.
Britain and Wales because the plate is issued with the car, and like the first 2 characters denote the year it was issued, so you
Yep.
can tell what year a car is
Oh,
just by
very
looking
cool.
at the plate, which is really cool. And yeah, they're riveted on for life. Like,
So on Japanese license plates,
Yeah.
you can also tell the age of the vehicle because for most of the Japanese history, they would only have a 4-digit license plate.
just the number on the actual plate.
Yeah, these major numbers right here.
Yep.
They'd be 4 digits, and they've recently moved over. Like I think in the 90s, they started doing a 5-digit for like Tokyo and some prefectures. But the digits are specific for each prefecture. So you could have a 6666 plate in Okinawa, in Yokohama, and in like Akita and Sapporo.
That's
they could
similar
all
to
have
France. First 2 are the region codes. So
Yeah.
it tells you what basically
But-
county it was issued.
Yeah, but that's the thing is the region code would be in the top kanji because they have 47 prefectures in Japan, so there's plenty of those. So you would know basically almost at a county size level
Nice.
where it's from. But yeah, so that's how you can kind of tell a lot about Japanese license plates is they'll tell you all about the car and where it's from, and I think that's just interesting as hell, and I absolutely love that. And the fact that they're riveted on is very cool.
I'm kind of a fan of plates that never leave the car.
Yes, and well, it's because like if you find like an old car, and the old car has like, I've seen like really old cars from like the 50s on Japanese nostalgia car that were just like taken by one of our photographers like back when I worked there that were in Japan, and be this like super old man that owns it, and he's had this like same like 1952 Nissan since new, and he had like a single number for the top of the plate. And then he had like a 3-digit plate number without a dot. Also, it's not a square; it's a dot in between.
It would make it very easy to identify the provenance of a car, too.
Yes.
It's like, I mean, yeah, you could fake it and rivet it on, but to your point, like if you verify it's green ink and all this other bullshit, I mean, that's cool. I dig that.
Japanese license plates are just as interesting as European or California plates. California plates in specific are really cool.
So, can you personalize a plate in Japan?
You can, yes.
Okay, interesting.
And so when you personalize them, well, it's only numeric how you can personalize. It's only those 4 digits. It's hideously expensive. But a lot of people will take like their lucky number, like 6666 is considered a lucky number in Japan.
It's different here.
Yeah, well, not 666,
I know.
but 6666 is a lucky number. That's why you'll see a lot of cars like Rocket Money will have 6666 on their car because that's a lucky number. 777 is another really popular one. 000 or sorry blank 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 and then one single digit is also very popular. Because if you do blank, it's just a dot. They'll put 3 dots, and then you'll have your number.
I kind of like the 3 dots.
It's the 3 dots, and the number is really cool
That's
looking.
pretty neat.
So,
But I can understand hating the fake. Like,
Yeah.
And it's not even just a fake. It's like a characterization.
it's so stupid because there's so much, like, if you knew anything about what you were driving,
Yeah.
like, if you did the smallest amount of research, you could find out that there's a huge world, and you can buy Japanese plates for about $40 a pop.
Like real ones?
Yes, on my
Okay.
Civic, I always had one on my Civic when I was younger. And the one on my Civic was from Mie province because that's where the car was made.
Nice.
I wanted to make sure it was from the province that the car was
How
made from.
dare you do research,
I
Ryan?
know, right? But yeah, I got the most common ones you find on eBay for some reason from Kobe province.
Okay, sure. Yeah, yeah.
No idea. I guess there's somebody that just sells a lot of plates on eBay from a junkyard in Kobe.
When I visited France in 2009, I went to the local area. It was vehicle registration,
Yeah.
where the plates are pressed and printed on site.
Sick.
And I asked him, like, can you make custom ones just for novelty? And the guy's like, oh, I don't know. It's illegal to make plates. I'm like, no, it's just for decoration. And like, oh, yeah, no problem. So they were like €3 each. Like,
Oh, wow.
so cheap.
That's
So I
awesome.
had a ton just made with custom, like, text. I don't know.
Yeah,
Same thing.
Yeah.
Not legitimate,
But yeah, no, in Japan, you can only get it when you purchase a car. So you can't buy a car and then put a custom plate on it.
What if you get in a front and rear end collision at the same time and you need new plates after the car's repaired? How is that managed?
You have to go to the referee that does the vehicle inspection. He has to unrivet it, and he has to rivet it on
Same as prison. Gotcha.
while a police officer watches. Like, they are so strict.
I like it.
It's really cool. I
like it.
love it. Yeah.
I like it. As somebody who's experienced license plate theft, I'm into that.
Yeah. Anyway, I see that you have no additional topics. Should
I have
just-
one more,
Okay.
but let's do yours. I mean,
No. I want to talk about your next one.
Do you, though?
Yeah?
Okay. Well, I mean, it's really sad.
What's your
You sure you don't want to
next?
talk about Octane first? Or am I in
No,
the wrong
we'll
spot?
end with Octane because I want to end on a
Okay,
happy note.
fine. So,
Yes.
Johnny's new car
Yes.
that he adores and loves.
Yeah.
The Carbitrage car of the year, at least once, I assume. Well, maybe not, but it's always in our top running. The Mitsubishi Mirage is unofficially, but officially, going away for the 2025 model year, and that's
Very
dumb
sad.
because nobody has money, and they need a cheap and cheerful, which that car is, car to buy.
Now
And
it's all up to Nissan.
now, and here's the thing. One of the next cheapest vehicles, the Kia Forte,
Yeah.
started at $18,900. That's now going away also for next model year.
Sick.
So no more cheap cars, everybody. Have
Cool.
fun. But
Glad to see you. My Fiat's going to be worth everything forever.
pretty much.
You know, at this point, Dan's friend who's, he's a thespian. He's not a car person at all. His Prius just got totaled.
That's
And now
sad.
he's looking for a new car. And Dan's like, I think I'm going to take him to Mitsubishi to go get a Mirage. Because he's like, all he wants is something that gets good fuel economy and is cheap and, like, reliable. And I'm like,
It says
oh,
it right here, sweet shitbox.
yeah. I'm like, how's his credit? He goes, wonderful. I'm like, $99 a month, Mirage lease. Like, do that.
In this day and age, with the inflation, that is a killer deal. And they're
Yeah.
cheap to insure, too.
Yeah, well, Mitsubishi will soon find out that nobody actually likes their crossovers, and they'll have even a smaller market share. Do you know why Mitsubishi actually kind of sucks?
Well, there's a lot of reasons.
But do you know why they don't have a market here?
Because of getting rid of the Evo?
No, actually, it predates that. They've always been on the back foot, even during the Evo.
Huh. Then I
Because
do
they
not.
tied themselves to Chrysler during the malaise.
Oh.
They would
Oh.
only import cars as Chryslers for most of the malaise.
Yuck.
And nobody's buying Chryslers.
Well,
so
yeah,
they,
because the LX
so
platform,
while
or GS, I guess, platform sucks.
Yeah, so while Toyota was eating everybody's lunch in the 70s, Mitsubishi is making identical cars that were just as good and actually more reliable in some cases. And they weren't selling any of them here because they were being sold through Chrysler dealerships. So that's why they don't have...
Yeah,
'cause
Mitsubishi's presence was, the engine in my van is
Whereas,
a Mitsubishi.
so Chrysler Australia was actually a subsidiary. It was a different brand that was rebranded back to Chrysler. So Chrysler Australia was kind of like a Mitsubishi sort of thing.
Sure.
And so Chrysler in Australia didn't have as much of a market share.
Is this like the Dodge Journey being sold back to Fiat?
Yeah, kind of. And so that's why Mitsubishi in Australia has a huge market share. It's because they've always been able to concentrate on that market. Like Southeast Asia and places like that where Chrysler didn't give a shit. Like in the 70s, that's where Mitsubishi is just doing wonderfully. So yeah,
I just recently
that's a
watched
fun fact about
Cannonball
Mitsubishi.
Run 2, and there was like a very clear product placement of a Mitsubishi Turbo Coupe.
Yes.
And I'm like, and that was even the 80s, and it was
Yeah.
one of these things where like
They're
you could
trying
tell,
very fucking hard because they were on the back foot the entire time because they hitched their horse to the Chrysler wagon during the worst time to ever be associated with Chrysler.
yeah, that moving hitching post was a bad move.
Yep, that was a bad idea.
But I wish the Mitsubishi Mirage luck.
I wish that there will be another cheap and cheerful little car that comes and takes its place.
I hope so.
I'd like to see, Proton still somehow exists. Maybe Proton or Perodua could send something over.
Give us some Pacific
Wuling-
Rivers, man. Oh, yeah.
Fuck. As soon as Wuling figures out how to make a subsidiary in Vietnam to import cars to America, they're going to fucking kill it. So, I would like to see some Wulings.
I'm all right.
All right, so we're going to end this episode. Now I've got about 5 minutes. This will actually allow me to shorten this up. I want to talk about octane testing and the history thereof.
I am really interested.
Because this all came out because I was watching a Jay Leno's Garage video about Fatty Arbuckle's 1923 McFarlane Model 154, which had a T-head engine.
Okay.
Do you know what a T-head is?
Unfortunately,
It
I
is-
do.
How do you not like this? It's a cross-flow flathead.
I know, but it's like the flow geometry of them
It's
is like
stupid.
it's like plumbing both valves through like irrigation plumbing.
It's a terrible idea, but it's really, really cool.
There's no swirl.
No, there's not at all. But there's a reason that they actually did that is they wanted to have a cross-flow, cylinder head so you'd have natural flow.
Well, to separate heat and all that kind of shit too.
But they also needed to do that with a octane rating of roughly somewhere between 50 and 90. Yeah?
RON or AKI?
Didn't exist then.
There was only one octane rating.
No, there wasn't any at all, actually.
Oh.
And that 50 to 90 is the range in which you would get when you got gasoline.
So,
It would sometimes be 50 octane.
well, your compression ratio is 4.5 to 1.
There's
so
a
big
reason
whoop.
for that.
Yeah, right.
Because they had the technology to go higher than that.
Right.
They chose not to, for good reason.
Funny how machining was actually pretty good
It
in the 1920s.
was just fine.
Yeah.
If you looked at Bugatti, where they actually, Bugatti race cars were, designed to have
yeah, look at a Type
very,
35.
Yeah, they were designed to run on a gasoline that was aided by alcohol to raise the octane. And that's why, they had 8.8, 9.0 to 1 with
This
the
is going to shock
supercharger.
people, but Bridgeports were around then.
Yeah, but the octane rating was not standardized. In fact,
When did AKI and RON come into...
so that consistent octane ratings didn't even start until 1928. So what's extremely cursed about that is it wasn't even until the mid 1930s that an ideal gasoline octane level was decided upon.
And what was that decision?
That was for airplanes. And the reason for that was actually for military uses.
Well...
And you can thank the Italians for that.
Oh my...
And you're wondering,
What did the Benzina?
well, so this is the thing. So right before World War II, there was a really great fighter plane called the Fiat CR-32. You can bring up a photo of it.
That's not a CR-2032.
No, it's a CR-32. This was the peak of biplanes. In fact,
Oh, she a chunky girl.
yeah. So this is actually a biplane that could compete with a BF-109.
Is that the thingy with the gear?
No, the BF-109 was the monoplane fighter of Germany in World War II.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
The oldest photo is the one that actually pulls up at real
Look
resolution.
at that.
Great.
So yeah, the Fiat CR-32.
That sucked. I'm doing that again.
Yeah, they had a basically a heptane booster that you were supposed to put into it
Yeah.
that went with normal gas, but you had to hand mix it beforehand. And China bought a whole assload of these right before Japan invaded. And China quickly found out that was a big fucking problem where you had to hand mix all your gasoline before your airplane would even operate.
Interesting how
Shockingly-
compression ignition will happen, or probably pre-ignition in this case.
Once these got in the air, they were great. That's why the Ki-10 only was around for a few years, the first Japanese fighter of the World War II era. Because
His era
they
was
got their
once
ass
exposed,
kicked by
yeah.
these once they got in the air. But then they found out, if we just blow up like half of their hangar, that will take care of half of the gasoline they need to mix at the airport for the airplane. So, first problem, right?
So far, everything I've heard on this topic is cursed.
Yep.
Yes.
So in cars in 1927, that's when they started consistently using leaded gasoline.
Oh, tetraethyl?
Because
Gotcha.
because the leaded additive actually counteracted the wildly differing octane ratings.
Probably made it more consistent.
It made it actually made that, and
And it lubricated things really well.
So when do you think that there was actually a regulatory agency for octane ratings? So when do you think AKI and Ron actually entered the chat?
1958?
Later.
Oh, no. 1973.
Oh, not quite that bad,
Oh.
but it was around then.
1971?
Yeah, about that.
Oh, no.
Years differed, but between 1970 and 1972, the world began using a consistent octane rating. Well, the developed world was
No
using,
wonder Mercedes had diesels.
Yeah, it was until the 70s. And think about like every muscle car and everything. Those were all before octane, because you had leaded gas. That wasn't a fucking problem.
I guess.
Until the 70s, because they're like, okay, cool. Whatever inconsistency you have in octane rating will be taken care of by the lead additive.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So
That's very
next
poorly.
time you think of a car, like you see like a twin cam Duesenberg that actually like makes power back then. Like there's a reason you only made like 1 horsepower or a quarter of a horsepower per liter.
The S76
average.
is starting to make a lot more sense now.
Yep. Yeah, or per cubic inch rather, not per liter. But yeah, the reason you did that is because you couldn't actually maximize the quality of what you could build with an engine, and that's why like a lot of these like pre-war cars like now like
The 1970s.
yeah, it's the 70s.
There are so many modern cars made before that was a thing.
Yeah, no, that's insane. Janus Buick existed before that consistent standardized octane ratings happened.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And so stuff like that leads to China losing World War II. Like, because they bought a bunch of Italian-ass airplanes that were designed for Italian-ass shit. And so, yeah, there's a whole science behind this. And basically, you're kind of... It's... From how I understand, it's very similar to, like, divining rods and how you get consistent octane at a gas station. Because they take a sample, like, once a month to
Yeah.
make sure it's consistent. And the only thing that keeps them consistent is the fuel manufacturer going, boy, we hope our customer doesn't go out of business. That's their only thing.
I don't know how there aren't more issues because a lot of the fuel we buy in this country goes through pipelines.
Yes.
And before it's trucked to the gas station, those pipelines transmit all of the different grades and types of fuel. I'm talking diesel, kerosene, all types of unleaded, with and without ethanol pre-added, although a lot of that is actually done at the gas station. But they send pigs through in the pipes.
Yep.
And sometimes there are issues with those things. They wear out and they don't seal very
Yep.
well. So I have to imagine a lot of fuel grades will mix in the actual pipe. I don't know how there aren't more problems with like kerosene leaking into gasoline or diesel, getting contaminated.
It's-
Different grades. It's shocking.
Yeah.
That 456 does not sound good.
No, it doesn't. But yeah, this I went like on a deep dive between EESI, which is Environmental Energy Study Institute,
Okay.
and actually the LinkedIn profile for one of the lead researchers in octane ratings.
That one's wild. That's
right
what
now.
I'm-
Yeah, it's a really good read. But as from Calum E. Douglas, who's a powertrain design specialist for Siemens.
I actually much prefer 75% aromatic to 30% aromatic. And if you give me Parofil Nafromentic, I'm not interested. Okay.
But yeah, so like the
I'm leaving that up in hopes that becomes the thumbnail.
superchargers and compression ratios in like following World War I are why like the Fuel Research Committee was developed in 1921. Took them until 1928 to even figure out how to do a consistent octane test. Like, does it explode? Yes. Okay, throw it in the engine. Call it a day.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, look at multi-fuel. I mean, the M75A1s, whatever the hell those things were.
It's, yeah, totally bananas. And the early way of doing it is they'd look at how the plugs looked in the combustion chamber to get the octane rating. Like, very fascinating, very cursed. So what they eventually did with octane ratings around World War II is they used a bouncing pin knock detector. So it'd be a bouncing pin, and after a certain amount, it would tell you if it knocks.
Okay.
And once the fuel begins to knock, that's how you know. That's how you could test what the octane is.
Oh my god.
So even the octane was like, if it had water in it, it would make it bounce. It'd be the correct octane. It'd just be terrible.
God, dude.
But it would often break. What it would do is it'd be a little leaf spring. It would just break contact with the leaf spring and produce an electrical signal.
I feel like that would be really hard on the test equipment.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what it'd do, is you go through them.
I love these, man. The superchargeability of 87 octane fuels of different chemical composition.
Yeah, it's great.
Also, it's measured in inhugs.
In what?
Oh, it's actually millimeters of mercury.
Awesome.
Back when lab test equipment had real manly.
But yeah, so there was a. So it's just so they would use heptane as the basic like 0 octane. Like this is what knocking is supposed to be, and that's how they.
I didn't even know.
They would zero the equipment with that, and then from there it'd be how close are you to heptane?
Well, there's heptane, pentane, and octane, right? Those are the hydrocarbon strains, and like oh my god. My brain is too small for this. This is like learning about engine oil. I could learn for years and still not really understand octane. Especially why they deviated between AKI and RON.
Yeah.
Oh, no. No.
Yep, no, there's a deviation. It's all just divining rods, basically, these days. Like, it is...
I accept that answer.
Yeah, like, whenever somebody says, oh, gasoline engines are so good, they're so well done, I'm like, no, dude. We barely have a grasp on this technology. That's how we make like 5% of efficiency based off them.
The thermal efficiency of engines, even with direct injection, is horseshit.
Yeah. So actually, fun fact: aromatic fuels were first used by Germany in World War II, which are like paraffinic fuels, and they used that because of the lack of access of crude oil prior, like at the beginning of the war, and like that's why they invaded Africa. Was for oil. And so that, yeah, it was actually in World War II is when they started doing like not oil-based fuels to try and figure out how do we make an airplane fly. And that was, it's just...
Those are the confidence-inspiring questions you really want to hear out of these committees.
Yeah. How do you make this work?
Imagine the guy walking by in the hallway that turns around and starts listening. Oh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, no, it's very curious. So yeah, I thought this was like one of the most interesting deep dives I've ever done.
It makes me want to like do more research on octane and have a longer segment on it because that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's really, really, really interesting.
It's a really
just
good
like
topic.
The history of it is just like I love the history of how wacky all this stuff is.
How this has really never come up in a substantial capacity in the last 5 years is kind of amazing to me.
It's something where I was always aware of it. I was always aware that a lot of it is just like kind of made up. Like to be honest.
Well, especially before the Standards Institute existed.
Yeah, but I did not know the history of I knew how like modern day it's sort of made up. Just like it's just kind of like a bunch of BS.
We did 80 years of automobiles before
we figured out
anything.
How to make it. Yeah.
That's staggering.
Yeah, incredible. So
it's breathtaking.
There you go.
All right.
Now we know. All right.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We will see you next week.